In today's example of flagrant Orwellian doublespeak, we're going to take a look at the Inflation Reduction Act. So as we all know already, this is basically just a way to justify a bunch of new spending on climate, which is population control, healthcare, which is, just poisoning people with pharmaceuticals and making sure that any trip to the doctor completely drains your bank account, and new taxation, which they always say is going to affect the super wealthy, but never ends up doing that. Here we see a one-page summary of the Inflation Reduction Act you can find by Googling and downloading it. And you see here they think they're going to raise $739 billion, and they're going to, invest $433 billion, which is going to produce a $300 billion net benefit. And sure, $300 billion may sound like a great dent in the federal deficit, but when you're looking at the fact that it's $2.2 trillion, this idea starts to fall apart very quickly. And here we see they're openly admitting the Democrats have argued that the measure will tackle voters' main economic concern, naming it the Inflation Reduction Act. So they're not even trying to actually reduce the amount of inflation that we're dealing with, and they're openly kind of admitting that. They basically rebranded a new budget spending act and renamed it the Inflation Reduction Act because they know that we're all being hammered by inflation. The Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says, though, the bill has a negligible effect on inflation in 2022 and into 2023. And the reason why is not very hard to understand, especially if you've been following our content. When the Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air, they create the value out of nothing, and then they loan it to the government at interest. So all of the new spending for every single bill that they pass gets a blank check cashed in by the Federal Reserve. That spending creates that currency, and then we are on the hook for the interest on that loan, and for the principal as well. But the thing is that there's never going to be enough tax revenue to even pay off the interest on that loan. So if they actually wanted to tackle inflation, what they would do is they would stop printing money out of thin air. But as we all know, they will not do that because they have a vested interest in increasing the tax burdens on the average person so that they can institute more climate crisis legislation and rules and funnel more and more people into the system and drain the wealth that they have. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. The solution to this problem is not going to come from these people. It's going to come from average people like you taking control of your own situation and operating in private through things like private trust and private membership associations. There is a way out, but these people are not going to give it to you.